I think these negotiations are a trifle one-sided, especially since the Iranians aren't involved. That's the first point. Second point is militarily win. What are we winning? Is this the battleship Missouri scenario where the Iranians troop aboard the battleship Missouri sitting somewhere in the Persian Gulf and surrender to Donald Trump? This is all nonsense. What we're seeing is one side is trying to wage war the way we have, certainly since about 1944. That's the old way of war. And we're facing an opponent who is waging a very different war against us. They're actually waging the war of the future in the 21st century. And that's a war of missiles, unmanned systems, as well as manned systems, a mix of everything, but maximum precision strike with a maximum of persistent surveillance. That's where we are. We're not going to win this war, not the way we're approaching it. And we can fire every last missile in our inventory, and we're going to discover that. Senator Cruz is the same senator who couldn't tell Tucker Carlson how many people lived in Iran. I doubt seriously he'd ever looked at the size of Iran, its terrain, its geography, to appreciate the true strategic challenge associated with waging war on a civilizational state that also happens to be a continental power. So what do you say? I wouldn't take him seriously. I think he's reading from the talking points that the White House and the Pentagon provide to all the retired generals. And again, a good example of the complete failure, to understand the impact of change on warfare. Well, we sank their Navy. What Navy? They had 7 old frigates, collection of other boats, and that hasn't stopped anyone in the Persian Gulf from interfering with shipping traffic. So I don't know what they're talking about. There really hasn't been an Iranian Air Force to speak of since the Shah departed. So again, this is back to the failure to understand what you're dealing with. I'm most concerned at this stage by people that talk this way, who are going to try and make the fallacious argument that was made recently by Lindsey Graham. President Trump, if you take Karg Island, the war's over. Right. So I have a feeling we're headed down that road. I think we're going to pay a horrendous price for that stupidity. But maybe that's unavoidable. Now, finally, you said, well, what's the problem? There are a lot of people out there, particularly in my generation, they watch the mainstream media. They believe whatever they're told. You would think at some point they would say, wait a minute, this is all nonsense. You would think somebody would wake up and say, wait a minute, President Trump, I voted for you. You haven't done what you said you were going to do. What happened to the effort to deal with the illegal alien problem in the United States? What are you doing to enforce federal law? The problem with all of this is, do we have these capabilities? Yeah, we got lots of light infantry. Much of it's good. It'll go where you send it. But what are you asking it to do? And I think at the moment, we're asking them to do the impossible, to exert control over geography that they can't control. It's not a question of, are there not enough of them? It's simply a question of surveillance and strike. And if you don't have that advantage, if you can't rob the enemy of ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and you can't defeat his intermediate range or tactical ballistic missiles and so forth, what are you going to do? Perhaps we're going to have to go through this in order to learn this lesson the hard way.
And just real briefly, what about this? Because there's a lot of things swirling around, and a lot of the rumor mills that actually these troops, especially these light fighters, are actually being sent to do a seizure operation to get those 400 kilograms of reprocessed material and prevent Iran from ever turning them into a nuclear bomb. What is the possibility? We have a lot of good people that can do things. We've seen how SEAL Team 6 went and took out bin Laden. We've seen how we just took Maduro out here. Can something like that work?
Well, there's gold in the Amazon jungles. Why don't you go find it? Good luck. You're looking for the proverbial needle in a haystack.